The first time Captain Sarah Chen bit into an apple aboard the Galactic Council's flagship Harmony, she thought the screaming was some kind of emergency alarm. She was wrong. The screaming was coming from her alien crewmates. 3 months earlier, Sarah had been selected as humanity's first representative to join a mixed-species crew on a diplomatic mission to the Outer Rim. The United Earth government had spent years preparing for this moment, humanity's official introduction to the greater galactic community. Sarah, a veteran space pilot with degrees in xenobiology and linguistics, seemed like the perfect choice. What nobody had anticipated was the food situation. "Human Chen," gasped Zephyr, the ship's Altarian navigator, his blue-scaled hands clutching his chest as he staggered backward. "What? What are you consuming?" Sarah paused mid-chew, apple juice running down her chin. Around her, the ship's mess hall had erupted into chaos. Crix, the insectoid engineer, was making a sound like a broken ventilation system. The plant-like Verdanian medic, Dr. Moss, had literally turned pale green and was swaying on his root feet. Even Captain Vorthak, the stern reptilian commander, was backing away with his weapon half drawn. It's just an apple?" Sarah said, holding up the red fruit. This only seemed to make things worse. Several crew members actually fled the room. Captain Vorthak's voice was barely a whisper. "You consumed it? Raw? Alive? Without processing or sterilization protocols?" "Well, yeah. That's how you eat fruit." Dr. Moss made a sound like wind through dying leaves. "The enzymatic activity. The cellular mitochondria still functioning. How are you not dead?" Sarah looked down at the apple, then back at her horrified colleagues. In all of humanity's preparation for first contact, nobody had considered that eating fresh fruit might be seen as an act of suicidal madness. Over the following days, Sarah tried to explain human dietary habits to the ship's xenobiologist, Dr. Quill, a owl-like Huthran with massive compound eyes that dilated in distress every time Sarah described human food preparation. "Let me understand this correctly," Dr. Quill said, his voice quavering. "Your species regularly consumes unprocessed plant matter, raw vegetables, fruits picked directly from living organisms, without any form of detoxification, sterilization, or molecular breakdown." "Pretty much, yeah. We call it eating healthy." Dr. Quill's feathers ruffled in what Sarah had learned was the Huthran equivalent of a nervous breakdown. "But the toxins, the cellular defenses, the acidic compounds designed to prevent consumption. I mean, some things can be poisonous if you don't know what you're doing, but most fruits and vegetables are perfectly safe. Actually, they're good for us." "Good for you?" Dr. Quill's compound eyes began spinning in different directions. "The concentrated vitamins alone should cause cellular damage. The fiber should tear your digestive tract apart. The natural sugars should send you into metabolic shock." Sarah shrugged. "Nah, we're pretty tough. Want to see me eat a carrot?" Dr. Quill feinted. The human consumption phenomenon spread quickly through the ship's communication network. Sarah discovered that her eating habits had become the subject of intense scientific debate, and, apparently, several horror stories being shared among the crew. She overheard Zephyr telling a group of junior officers about watching her devour a living tomato while its cellular structure was still intact, describing it like she'd witnessed a serial killer at work. The situation reached a breaking point during the ship's weekly cultural exchange dinner. Each species was supposed to share traditional foods from their homeworld. Sarah had requested a simple vegetable salad, lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, all fresh from the ship's hydroponic bay. She appeared in the mess hall carrying her bowl of raw vegetables. The reaction was immediate and dramatic. The crystalline delegate made a sound like shattering glass and retreated behind an energy barrier. The gaseous nebulans dispersed entirely, their consciousness fleeing to the opposite end of the room. Captain Vorthak stood up slowly, his reptilian features grave. "Human Chen, I cannot allow you to perform this act in front of the crew. The psychological damage, it's a salad. Captain, you're going to consume living plant matter, raw, unprocessed, while we watch." Sarah looked around the room at the horrified faces staring back at her. She realized that every single species represented here had evolved past the need to consume raw organic matter. They all used food processors, molecular disassemblers, or energy conversion systems. The idea of biting directly into an unprocessed plant was, to them, equivalent to eating live animal, Sarah said, setting down her bowl. I get that this seems weird to you all, but this is how humans eat. We've been doing it for hundreds of thousands of years. Our bodies are designed for it. We have specialized teeth for cutting and grinding plant matter. Our stomachs produce acids specifically to break down raw organic compounds. Our intestines are full of bacteria that help us process fiber and extract nutrients. The room was silent, except for the sound of Dr. Quill having another fainting spell. We're not trying to be scary or dangerous, Sarah continued. We're just different. Our evolution took a different path. Where your species developed technology to process food externally, we evolved to process it internally. Captain Vorthak's scales slowly shifted from the deep red of alarm to their normal brownish green. You're saying this is natural for your species? Completely natural. In fact, we get sick if we don't eat raw fruits and vegetables regularly. We need the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes. Processed food alone would eventually kill us. Dr. Moss, the Verdanian medic, made a sound like rustling leaves. That's actually fascinating from a xenobiological standpoint. Your species maintained a direct symbiotic relationship with plant life rather than developing technological intermediaries. Sarah picked up a cherry tomato from her salad. Want to see something really wild? And before anyone could object, she bit into it. The small explosion of juice and seeds made half the crew members cover their optical sensors, but a few of the braver scientists leaned forward, apparently fascinated despite their revulsion. The cellular walls are rupturing, Dr. Quill whispered, having revived just in time to witness the spectacle. The acids in your mouth are immediately beginning molecular breakdown. Remarkable. Sarah swallowed and smiled. And that, friends, is how humans eat vegetables. Over the remaining weeks of their mission, Sarah's eating habits became less of a horror show and more of a scientific curiosity. The ship's xenobiologists documented everything, creating detailed studies of human digestion that would apparently revolutionize their understanding of biological diversity. When they finally reached their destination, a diplomatic summit with the Outer Rim, coalition, Sarah discovered that word of the raw plant. Consumption human had preceded them. She was greeted not with fear, but with fascination. Coalition's lead scientist, a floating jellyfish-like being named Drift, immediately requested a demonstration of organic matter direct consumption. Sarah had brought a bag of apples specifically for the occasion. He bit into the crisp red fruit in front of an audience of dozens of alien species. She couldn't help but smile. Humanity had joined the galactic community not through superior technology or military might, but through their ability to do something that seemed impossible to everyone else: eat an apple. Verse, it turned out, was full of wonders. And sometimes the most wonderful thing of all was something as simple and ordinary as fresh fruit.